Mamamoo is hated as much as they are loved. It comes with the territory. They are one of the most successful girl groups in the industry right now. Probably the biggest controversy that they have gotten themselves into is the blackface controversy. And so I decided to ask my African American friends, and I have a lot of that. I actually showed them the video, and all of them gave a resounding no. They were not offended by it because at the end of the day, number one, it boils down to context. If the intention is not to insult them or to degrade them or to demean them, that's fine. If they did it because it is one, that's how the video was supposed to be. And if they were honoring the culture instead of insulting them, they don't find anything offensive by it. If African Americans themselves don't find it offensive, then why would I? I know that not all African Americans are going to find it not offensive. There's probably some out there that would find it offensive. But for them, Mamamoo and their agency have actually already apologized for it, and I think people should move on. They apologized for it, they asked their fans to educate them about it, and they never have done it again. The next is the use of the N-word. Hwasa was actually covering a song of Beyonce, and in the version that she was covering, Beyonce actually said the N-word, and because she's African American, for them that's okay. They can say the N-word in whichever context, whichever way that they want. That's their thing. But because Hwasa is not African American, she should not have said a word. Yes, please don't touch. And I think of all the controversies that they have gotten themselves into, this is probably the one thing that they really should have apologized. And she has. She has apologized for it and never did it again. And so again, I think the apology was sincere. She really didn't know. If at all, it was the agency's responsibility to research about it and educate their artists about it. There was the video that supposedly romanticized the rape culture. They did say, they explained their side, their creative side, why they decided to do it that way. And they said that it was because the three situations already welcomed the advances of the guy. And so to make it different, they decided that one should not welcome the advances of the guy. They never apologized for their decision. They just explained their side. But I think at the end of it, a lot of the hate that they're getting is due to their willingness to actually challenge the status quo. They don't submit themselves to the usual standards of fans when it comes to girl groups. Number one, they actually take control over their own career and their own creatives. They actually co-write and co-produce many of their songs, and they are the discography is so prolific that the only other girl group that I think has more song credits is Brown Eyed Girls, and they are 10 years ahead of Mamamoo. But what that says is that they were never forced to sing or perform something that they don't like or that they're not willing to perform, because they are co-creators of the art that they are performing. I know that many fans are going to say that just because you're not writing your own songs doesn't mean you're less of an artist, and I do agree. It doesn't mean that we don't give credit to the creators of the craft. And they are co-creators. They actually co-choreograph some of their performances, and that says a lot about how much control that they have over their own career and their own creatives. And then there is Hwasa's body type, and I'm singling her out because she really is the one that does not follow the usual shape of or the body type of a usual Korean idol. She's bigger to the standards of Koreans, and she doesn't care. And she's darker. That's why, as I've said, many fans are actually saying she had this one performance where she was criticized for wearing the blackface again, but she was actually just wearing her natural color. So she's darker than most Korean idols. She's not the first dark one, but she is one of those, the few ones. And she doesn't really apologize for it, and she did say that they don't really go on a diet. None of them actually go on a diet. They just eat whatever they want. And again, that's not a status quo. That is not something common in Korean entertainment. Most idols are actually subjected to very rigid physical conditioning. They're supposed to reach a certain weight. They're not supposed to eat this and blah blah blah. But not them. They don't even have a dating ban. They said that they're free to date whoever they want to date. They just can't find anybody. That is what they said. That's not something that I just claim. And even beyond the body type, even their fashion on stage is different. They're not there to seduce. They're not there to please anybody. They don't fall in a certain category. They're not cute. They're not girl crush. They're not powerful. They're just Mamamoo. That's their own style. If I am to describe it, I would say it's mellow avant-garde meets street fashion. I don't know if that exists. And for all the fashion of these aficionados out there, forgive me if I'm wrong, using the wrong terminology, but that's how I would describe it. It's very different, and so different that you're not really sure what they're trying to do. But I think that in itself, because fashion is such a big part of K-pop, I think that in itself is a statement. It's a proof of what they actually are as brands, as artists, and as people. And they walk the walk and they don't just talk the talk. It's very in for idols to support a certain cause, but not many are actually showing proof, aside from donations and stuff, on how much they're actually supporting a certain cause. But Mamamoo is out there, specifically the LGBTQ. So they're very big on their support for LGBTQ, and they had this performance where they performed with the LGBTQ community, because if they are incorporating this support, this cause into their own craft and into their own music, that's a big statement, because that's not just about monetary support or lip service. They're actually putting it in their own craft. And I think the most intimidating thing about Mamamoo, the most threatening thing about them, and the biggest reason why they are hated and they are so much criticized, is their confidence on who they are as artists and as people. They refuse to bend and refuse to apologize for the things that they do. I think their latest album, or their latest single, Hip, was such a huge statement. And as everybody knows, Wasa was very much criticized for showing up in the airport without a bra. And she just brushed it off. And to her, she said, I was surprised that it was a big deal for a lot of people, but to her, she was just being natural. But there was no big reasoning behind it. It wasn't support for women's rights or whatever. That was just her being her. And that's very threatening for a lot of K-pop fans, not just Korean K-pop fans, but just K-pop fans in general, regardless of the geographical location, because K-pop fans are actually very much used to having the power over their idols. They like having a say. They're used to having so much influence in the decision of the management company and the decision of the artists. But Mamamoo refuses to submit themselves to the opinion of others, and it was very, very clearly spelled out in Hip. They said it in the song, and they said it in one of their press conferences when they said that if you allow other people to dictate your moves and your decision and who you are, then you lose yourself in it. And so just love yourself, do your thing, and allow others to hate if they want to hate. So that's just something that K-pop fans aren't used to. K-pop fans like the power. They like being able to influence the decision of the management company and their idols, and Mamamoo is just not about that. They're here as performers. They're going to do what they want to do, and you're either in or not. I think they have a lot more ahead of them. I don't know if they will ever, or even if they're interested in making it internationally. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't really care about it. I wish they do. If there's any wish that I have for them, I hope that their management company gives them more funding in terms of promotion. And like other girl groups, they don't come, they did, the RBW is not actually a big company, so they don't have a lot of money for research and development, for marketing, for PR. But I hope that they will get to that. So to all the mumus out there, hi, and if there's anything that you want to share, do leave me a comment.